How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a perfect example of the Second Amendment being used by regular everyday Americans. Now, I'm sure most of you have seen the picture that's on the screen before you and the subsequent video, but we got to really explain what's going on there because the mainstream media aren't doing a very good job of doing so. They're talking about, oh, St. Louis couple points their gun at peaceful protesters. It's like, what? Peaceful protesters? What are you even talking about? Before I go down that road, let's go ahead and roll the clips in question. After we get done with that, I'll talk about what was said and done in those clips. Then I'll give you some backstory to explain to you why that probably happened and why it was a good thing that happened. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents, my deep detail analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
All right, y'all see he got a gun, and y'all can see. Y'all see on my live feed, he got his rifle. Y'all can see he does have a weapon. As y'all can see, this individual does have a rifle. Y'all screenshot this. Send it to me. Share it.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, this whole thing was really crazy from the beginning on the behalf of the so-called peaceful protesters. And by the way, this is what I'm talking about. I've made a video before saying that these people are not peaceful, okay? If you are doing what they did, you're not peaceful. If you're doing what the majority of these so-called Black Lives Matter, Antifa, hands up, don't shoot, if you're doing what the majority of them are doing, you're not peaceful. It doesn't matter if you don't have a gun or a knife or beat somebody in the head, you're not peaceful, but we'll move on. Let's talk about the particular incident that happened outside of the couple's house that had the guns. Now, as you may have seen in the video, maybe you didn't, maybe you did, the people that were so-called peacefully protesting had to go into a gate. This gate had a sign on it that says, private property, no trespassing. It was clear as day. They broke the gate. Matter of fact, the couple that were out there with the guns had called the police to ask for help for the broken gate and the trespassing. Okay, so for them to even go in there, they were wrong. You can't just open that gate up and be like, yeah, I'm in here. I know it's private property. I know the gate was closed and I broke it. So what? They were wrong to be there, period. All right. And to speak about the couple right quick, they had been restoring that actual mansion. That's where they live. That belongs to them. They've been restoring it for like 30 years. Okay, so they brought it back. They revitalized that place. They said before it was like covered in soot. It was kind of decrepit and dilapidated. But 30 years of work, you know, helped them to get that mansion back where it's supposed to be. And that's where they live. That's their home. So if you just spent that much time, that much energy, that much money on your house, and you want to be safe in your house, and you're living in a private gated community, all of a sudden here comes Black Lives Matter, Antifa, a bunch of numbnuts coming through your neighborhood. Why not get your guns? You know, it's talking about, oh, they shouldn't have done that. Now, I will say, of course, it was not necessarily the best trigger discipline in gun handling, but you're talking about regular normies. You ain't talking about guys that go to the range and train. They probably had them guns in their house for the whole time they've been building it, 30 years, and never had to use it. Never even had to really touch it. But here, they're watching news, they're seeing what's going on, and they don't want to become victims. Now, before I go any further into that particular story about the BLM and Antifa being on the private property, let's go back one day, because that incident with the house, the mansion, happened on Sunday, but on Saturday, there was a so-called protest against the statue of King Louis IX, the King of France from the 13th century, who was also the only king of France to become canonized, which means he became a Catholic saint, which is where you get the actual name of the city, St. Louis, from St. Louis, the actual king of France, Louis IX. There was a protest to remove the statue of King Louis in St. Louis. Now, people are going to be against this because this is a Catholic saint. You have religious things going on, religious liberty, freedom of religion. Now you're starting to get involved with that. The protesters, so-called peaceful, were saying that we don't want to have any symbol of anti-Semitism or Islamophobia. What are you even talking about? Now we're getting into religion, whose religion is right, whose religion is wrong, what should be up, what shouldn't be up. Now you're in a whole different ball of wax, a whole different category. One guy, from what I was reading, was just praying, minding his own business, white guy, older guy, with a Pause Lives Matter shirt on, not a Black Lives Matter, not a White Lives Matter, Pause Lives Matter, like actual dogs, so like, you know, their paws. He's praying peacefully. All of a sudden, here comes one of these so-called peaceful protesters with a blue umbrella shirt on and a blue bandana, punching them right in his face. All right? You can see the picture on the screen before you, punching them right in his face. There are a bunch of other incidents that happened right there as a result of the so-called peaceful protesters. So the couple that are in the mansion are seeing this. They're like, wow, this is crazy. It's not too far away. We don't want to have this kind of violence and chaos come here, because, you know, one thing they had been saying, when I say they, I mean the so-called peaceful people, oh, we're taking it to the suburbs rather than just destroying their own neighborhood in the ghetto, or not even their own neighborhood. They're coming from the suburbs, from some other city far away, to fly down to a ghetto and destroy low-income people's houses, burn their businesses up, leave them jobless. So they don't want to just do that. They want to burn that down. And then when that's done, being looted and destroyed, they want to go to the suburbs and do that. So the couple are knowing this. They're listening to this. They're watching this. So they're like, okay, get the gun from the attic, get the gun from the basement. Let's go ahead and get to work. If they want to come here and try something crazy, we're going to be prepared. And that is what Second Amendment is all about. Just regular normies, regular everyday people being able to defend themselves. Now, the actual crowd, the reason why they broke into the gate and were trespassing was to go to the mayor's house and protest against him. Why are you coming to my house? Don't come to my house. I mean, I don't care if I'm the mayor, I could be the president. Don't come to my house. Simple. It'd be the same thing if you got these idiots out there in Washington, D.C. trying to break into the White House gate. Don't do that. Do not do that. You got guys on the roof that'll blow all of this, like your whole top from your forehead back to your earlobe. That'd be gone. So don't do that. All right. You can protest all you want to at a safe distance, but don't come to my house. And that's how I feel when they broke into the gate and trespassed. You cannot do that. So anybody trying to defend these people, where's the defense? You are breaking into private property. You know, like, what's next? Can you break into my house? Like, go through my front door and, you know, do something to me there?
Good morning.
Get off of my porch.
This is how Los Angeles County District Attorney Jackie Lacey's husband, David, greeted protesters outside their home Monday morning.
Off of my porch. I will shoot you.
And I support all of that. So shout out to them for defending themselves. These so-called peaceful people are not peaceful. Hopefully everybody can see what I was talking about for the past few weeks, months, years. You know, don't get, fooled by the term peaceful. They're not. These are anarchists. These are Marxists. These are very dangerous people that want nothing more than to destroy the nation. Talking about a Confederate flag that should come down. People say, oh, yeah, sure. Then that became Abraham Lincoln, Ulysses Grant, then religious statues of Jesus. Here we are. Do not give these morons an inch, because they will take a mile. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that I'm correct with what I'm saying here, that these people in St. Louis were right to defend themselves and the so-called protesters were wrong for breaking into the gate, trespassing on private property? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or should you be able to break into somebody's gate and trespass, do whatever you want to do because you feel like you have the right to protest? Okay, the right to protest in the Constitution says peacefully. Peacefully protesting does not mean breaking into somebody's private property. That's not how that goes. At that point, you commit the crime, you can get locked up. Okay, people say, you know, is it a civil war starting and all this and that? Nah, a civil war requires both sides to be fighting. Right now, what you have are just roving gangs of latte sipping heathens that come from really nice households, most of them. They're just destroying things and just creating general anarchy. It's one-sided. It's not really being fought back against that much. Okay, but then when the other side really fights back with equal force, then you could say it's a civil war. But even at that point, it won't be, because the side that's trying to really fight right now, the leftists, they'll stop fighting when they get pushed back on. It's like the bully in the school. He punch you in the head over and over again because you don't do anything to stop it. Once you punch him in the head one time, it'll be over. That is the equivalent of the BLM Antifa kind of crowd that are endangering Americans right now today. People say, where's Trump? What can Trump really do? You can send the military out there to protect the statues, but you'll be everywhere. And then it'll be, okay, Trump has a private security force out there, this, that, and the third. It's really up to the local governments to be able to do things, the police to be able to do things, not to have themselves hamstrung. And it's also up to us, the regular citizens, to protect ourselves. I think if we had all of that working, it'd be much better. If the military is needed, then so be it. But the first line of defense is us, we the people. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.